Today I'm going to read a book called Harriet, You'll Drive Me Wild. Mem Fox is the author. It's illustrated by Marla Frazee. This is a story that might sometimes be happening at home right now because we're all spending so much time together. Harriet, You'll Drive Me Wild. Harriet Harris was a pesky child. She didn't mean to be. She just was. One morning at breakfast, she knocked over a glass of juice. Just like that. Uh-oh. Her mother didn't like to yell, so instead she said, "Harriet, my darling child." "I'm sorry," said Harriet, and she was. At snack time, she dribbled jam all over her jeans, just like that. Looks like Mom's trying to get some work done, and maybe Harriet was getting into some things she wasn't supposed to be getting into. Her mother didn't like to yell, so instead she said, "Harriet, my darling child. Harriet, you'll drive me wild." "I'm sorry," said Harriet, and she was. Before lunch, when Harriet was painting a picture, she dripped paint onto the carpet, just like that. Her mother didn't like to yell, so instead she said, "Harriet, my darling child. Harriet, you'll drive me wild. Harriet, sweetheart, what are we to do?" "I'm sorry," said Harriet, and she was. At lunch, Harriet slid off her chair, and the tablecloth came with her. Just like that. Big mess. Ooh, Mom's starting to look frustrated. Her mother didn't like to yell, so instead she said, "Harriet, my darling child. Harriet, you'll drive me wild. Harriet, sweetheart, what are we to do?" "Harriet Harris, I'm talking to you." "I'm sorry," said Harriet, and she was. Later that afternoon, when Harriet was meant to be napping, she ripped open a pillow, just like that. 1,000 feathers flew in every direction. Harriet has been making a lot of messes. There was a terrible silence. Uh-oh. Then Harriet's mother began to yell. She yelled and yelled and yelled. Ooh, she does look upset now. "I'm sorry," Harriet cried. "I'm really, really sorry." Her mother took a deep breath. "I know you are," she said, hugging Harriet tight. "I'm sorry too. I shouldn't have yelled, and I wish I hadn't, but sometimes it happens, just like that." "Big mess," said Harriet. "A very big mess," said her mother, and she started to laugh. And they laughed, and they laughed, and they went on laughing as they picked up the feathers together. Sometimes People get frustrated, and there might be yelling.